Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Caiden Cowger program, broadcasting from West Virginia. It is great to have you with us. You know, this entire case pertaining to the shooting of Steve Scalise, Republican representative in Alexandria, Virginia, is just absolutely sickened me. Absolutely sickened me. And the disgust ranges from the media coverage all the way up to how Republicans on Capitol Hill are dealing with this. I mean, Democrats are handling it as you'd expect them to deal with it. They are running around, playing, I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't have anything to do with it. Tucking their tail in between their legs because they know that they've been caught. They know that their party is being portrayed negatively as a result of this because the shooter was an outspoken liberal. He was a volunteer for the Bernie Sanders presidential campaign. Bernie Sanders even acknowledged this himself. And, I was watching various media reports as soon as this happened. At first, they were all blaming gun violence, because that's what the media typically does. It took CNN, for example, a long time before they would acknowledge that the guy was a massive Democrat. MSLSD wouldn't recognize that he was that the attack was politically motivated at all, even though he walked up to or pulled up to congressional Republicans that were outside of the baseball park where the congressional baseball team was practicing, asked them which team was practicing that day. They said the Republicans, and the guy opened fire on the Republican baseball players that were on the field moments later. So clearly it was politically, it was political. The guy did have a political affiliation. All he had to do was go onto his Facebook page. He had a Facebook picture, profile picture, Bernie Sanders right there. Had liberal agitprop all throughout his page, all throughout his profile. Post after post was liberal propaganda, but no, it was not politically motivated, according to the Nimrods at MSLSD. Rachel Maddow said he wasn't a fan of my show, even though on his Facebook page it clearly had listed that he liked the Rachel Maddow show and watched that show. But she was saying, no, he didn't watch me. He didn't watch me. You know why they started freaking out like they did? Why they were so absolutely hysterical? Why they would not reveal that the guy was a Democrat, that he was a liberal for the longest time? And then as soon as that information came out, the story kind of died down. It's because when this shooting happened with Gabrielle Giffords, the mainstream media and the Democratic Party blamed conservatives and blamed Republicans. They blamed Sarah Palin. Democrats blamed Sarah Palin. They said that the reason why this shooting took place was because Sarah Palin put out a map of congressional Democrats that needed voted out, and because she had targets on all the areas of where Democrats needed voted out, they said that it was human targeting, that she was calling for, they were making it out like she was calling for their assassination and removal that way. But no, clearly Sarah Palin was just listing, here's a target, this is the area that you really need to focus on and campaign wholeheartedly for the conservative that's running, so this congressional Democrat gets voted out and we take back Congress. And by taking back, I mean the Republican Party taking it back. Okay? And then when that ended up falling flat, they blamed Rush Limbaugh because just a few miles away from the shooting, there was a Clear Channel radio station billboard that said Rush Limbaugh, a straight shooter. And because the billboard said straight shooter and had bullet holes in it, they were making it out like this is the billboard that inspired the shooting in Tucson, Arizona. Absolutely bogus. They blamed the Tea Party. They said that the guy who shot Gabrielle Giffords, Democratic representative from Arizona, the guy that shot her was a Tea Party volunteer. And then it came out that the guy was not a Tea Party volunteer. There was just a guy that was signed up with one of the political organizations that was affiliated with the Tea Party that had a similar name. Wasn't even the right guy. Had a similar name. And that is what the media, that's what the Democrats blamed for being responsible for the shooting that took place in Tucson, Arizona, of Democratic Representative Gabrielle Giffords. Now, we have the shooting of Representative Steve Scalise, Republican. And what have Democrats been doing in recent months? You have where Madonna came out and said that she thinks daily about blowing up the White House. You have Snoop Dogg that created a music video portraying the assassination of Donald Trump by his firearm. You have Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton's former running mate, that was on MSNBC's Morning Joe and said that Democrats are going to have to start fighting in the streets. You had Kathy Griffin that beheaded President Donald Trump in a photo shoot. These are all prominent Democrats. You have Johnny Depp, who seemed intrigued recently by the idea of assassinating the president. An actor assassinating the president. Johnny Depp's remarks came following the Scalise shooting, which seemed very careless considering that we just had a shooting of Republicans, which appears that Johnny Depp enjoys seeing Republicans lose their lives. But out of all of these graphic events that the Democrats have engaged in, portraying violence against the GOP, violence against Donald Trump, beheadings, assassinations, despite all that, Democrats, according to the media, are not to be held accountable for anything that happened. And what do they compare? What did they do? They blamed Republicans. They blamed Republicans for Gabrielle Giffords' shooting. Why? Because they had a map. What do we compare that to? We have all this violence that the Democrats have engaged in at inciting violence against Republicans, inciting violence against our president. And what do we compare that to? What do we compare that to? A map, a promotional billboard, and a Tea Party guy who has a name similar to the shooter. The actions taken in recent months can easily cause one to conclude that Democrats have done more to cause the shooting in Alexandria of Representative Steve Scalise than Republicans did in Tucson, Arizona to cause the shooting of Representative Gabrielle Giffords. If you're going to blame political violence on anybody, it should be the Democratic Party, because the Democrats clearly called for violence and have been calling for violence against members of the GOP for months. Beheading Republicans. Can you imagine if someone like myself would have a modeled head of Barack Obama when he was president, decapitated with blood dripping off of it, and holding it in my hand, and I post that on social media? Can you imagine? I would make the mainstream media again. That's exactly what would take place. My name would be smeared. All that would happen. But Democrats do this, and yeah, there was big media outrage over it. But then you also had some Democrats that were defending her, just like with Steve Scalise. We have a news story here of Democrats saying, "I'm glad he got shot." This is from Business Insider. A volunteer co-chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party, and it's part of their technological committee, was fired after he made a derogatory reference to House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, who was wounded in a shooting at a congressional baseball practice last week. Phil Montag made the comments during a conversation that was being recorded, the Washington Post reported on Friday. I'm glad he got shot, Montag allegedly said. According to the Post, I wish he was, used the F-bomb, dead. In the recording, Montag went on to describe Scalise's job as one in which he was to convince Republicans to kick people off, use the F-bomb again, healthcare. The conversation appeared to be an argument between Montag and at least two other people, one of whom revealed he was disturbed by Montag's comments. Why are you telling us, but not telling anyone else? One person said. Montag said to Montag, I've been recording this conversation since you've come in, so I will publicly release it myself. After the recording surfaced, Montag said that his comments were part of a longer exchange that lasted 30 minutes to an hour and were taken out of context. And that's what the Omaha World Herald reported. How can they be taken out of context when you say that you're glad that a guy was shot and you wish that he was dead? See, that's what that's how Democrats truly feel. They are the ones that are truly hateful. They are the ones that are true bigots, that are truly intolerant, that can't handle any opposition, and they will do everything that they possibly can to shut anyone up that offers any amount of opposition against them. That's what they are. That's what they've always been in recent years. And that's what the Democratic Party has become full of. And they have allowed the wackos in the Democratic Party to take over. The Bernie Sanders type wackos. And Bernie Sanders is a wacko. By the way, his wife is being investigated, I think, by the IRS right now. Bernie and Jane Sanders' lawyer is under FBI. They're under investigation by the FBI. Senator Bernie Sanders and his wife Jane Sanders have hired lawyers to navigate the FBI's investigation into alleged financial wrongdoing while Jane was president of Burlington College. The FBI is investigating Jane Sanders for potentially committing fraud when she applied for loans for Burlington College between 2004 and 2011. Sanders took out a $10 million loan from People's United Bank in 2010 to purchase 33 acres of land to be added to the college holdings. But in applying for the loan, the FBI is investigating as to whether or not Sanders misrepresented the school's donor levels to make the college seem like it had more income than it actually did. Sanders told the bank that Burlington College had an expected income of $2.6 million in donations for fiscal year 2010. But in fact, the college had only raised $676,000 between 2010 and 2014. A sum so small it put the school in bankruptcy in 2016, the Hill reported. So here you have dishonesty among the Sanders. This is who these people really are. And the Democratic Party is crumbling. They are crumbling. So good old Bernie isn't really good old Bernie. The Sanders are just as corrupt as the rest of the Democrats. They're heavily involved in corruption just the same as every other mainstream Democrat. They hate Republicans. They hate God. They hate conservatives. They want us all dead. That's the reality of it. They're bigots. They're intolerant. They're hateful. And they accuse us of holding those qualities when actually they're the ones that hold those attributes. That comes from Rules for Radicals. Accuse your opponent of what you are, and people will believe it. Because if you're the one to put that out there first, you're hateful, you're a bigot, they'll believe them. Even though the Democratic Party calling Republicans hateful is like Adolf Hitler accusing Jesus of being a bigot. That's really what it is. Not equating them with Hitler, but you get the idea.
Fighting liberalism one lie at a time.
You're listening to Caiden Cowger on the WCNR News Network.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
Are you looking for tickets to the hottest concerts, big game, or theater show? Look no further than StarFanTickets.com. We have amazing tickets to almost everything. No event is ever sold out. Why wait? It's easy to get the tickets you want at the prices you'll love. Simply search for the event. Then click the Find Tickets button. That's StarFanTickets.com. Join the StarFan crew mailing list and stay up to date on all the hottest events in your area. That's StarFanTickets.com. We have your tickets. Hashtag, you going?
It safely eliminates stress and anxiety. It makes commuting, driving your kids around, or driving a truck more fun. It makes gift shopping easier. It's Happy Driving Stress Reduction, a revolutionary patent-pending tool that works while you drive. Find Happy Driving Stress Reduction on iTunes, Amazon, or Google Play. Make life easier. Buy Happy Driving Stress Reduction today.
Go get your copy of Prelude to World War III, The Rise of Islamic Republic and the Rebirth of America. World War III Series Volume 1, available in paperback and Kindle edition on Amazon by the authors James Rozone and Miranda Watson. By the 2020s, America was no longer a world superpower. The military had been cut to a bare-bones level, and while the U.S. was focused internally, the door opened for new powers to emerge on the world stage. In the wake of this power vacuum, China.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas.
For your free inventor's information, call 1-800-441-7922. That's 1-800-441-7922.
Goldman Sachs and HSBC recently purchased 7.1 tons of physical gold. What do these bankers and mega money managers know that you don't? They're expecting the value of gold and silver to increase. That's why you need our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group offers gold and silver for direct delivery and will not be undersold. Call now. Call 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group is a company that deals with investing in precious metals such as gold and silver. They've been in business for over a decade and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They've been featured on Fox News, Market Watch, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, Reuters, Fox Business, Financial Times, and Forbes magazine. If you're interested, you can call at 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. They also offer various ebooks on investing in gold, such as the Definitive Gold Guide. So once again, if you're interested, you can call 1-800-932-4108. That's 1-800-932-4108. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends at the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja is a company that specializes in slashing debt. They deal with various debt problems such as tax debt, debt settlement, debt consolidation, student loan debt, credit repair services, and bankruptcy. That is 1-800-826-1132. Now, their company, the Debt Ninja, operates on a national level and have worked to fight the IRS for many of their clients. If you're interested, you can call at 1-800-826-1132. That is 1-800-826-1132. Once again, that is 1-800-826-1132. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, American Auto Protection has announced an extended service plan that is now available to the general public. This plan reduces the cost of auto repair expenses. Maximum Car Care was created to assist qualifying car owners with lowering repair bills of cars under 130,000 miles and under 12 years old. Maximum Car Care works to limit the expense of auto repair bills, roadside assistance, rental coverage, and towing. Their number is 1-800-824-9762. That is 1-800-824-9762. Once again, that is 1-800-824-9762. Maximum Car Care is a proud sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program.
You're listening to the WCNR News Network.
Caiden Cowger.
Somebody had to say it.
And by the way, not saying all Democrats are Adolf Hitler. Although Adolf Hitler was a socialist, so if you want to take his political beliefs, you can apply that to the Democratic Party more so than you can to the Republicans. But I'm giving you the example. Hitler was clearly a bigot. Jesus Christ is not a bigot, regardless of what liberals say. Jesus Christ was not a bigot. But it's just like Adolf Hitler calling Jesus Christ a bigot. He's a bigot, but he's accusing Christ of being that. And people will, really, people would blame Adolf Hitler over Jesus Christ because Hitler put it out first. And that's really what we're seeing take place with the Democrats today. They throw out Republicans are bigots. Republicans are racist, even though they're the party of Jim Crow. They're the party of racism. They're the party that fought against civil rights. They're the party that fought for slavery. They're the party that has a history of embracing racism. They're the party that created the Ku Klux Klan. However, some way, somehow, Republicans are the racists. It was the Democrats that put the Japanese in camps in the United States, internment camps. So they're the party that is grounded on racism. So why is it that the Republicans are the ones that have to get beyond this racial hostility, this racism, when racism has never been part of our party? The Republican Party platform has never been racist, but the Democratic Party platform has. So why is it that we have to get beyond racism? It's because the Democrats got the idea, hey, if we accuse Republicans of being racist, then everyone will start viewing Republicans as being racist. And if we have the media on our side and we use the media to accuse the Republicans of being racist, we can fool and trick the electorate into thinking that the Republican Party is the party that embraces racism. When actually, it's been us all along. Ha! So we create entitlement programs. We, put Planned Parenthoods in African American communities. And we decrease the population because, as Margaret Sanger used to say, minorities are basically scum. That's the, idolized Margaret Sanger of the Democratic Party, founder of Planned Parenthood that the Democrats love so much. She viewed black people as being scum of the earth. That's the woman that the Democrats still view as being wonderful. She viewed him as being a plague. She addressed a Ku Klux Klan rally one time and said that she felt that her life was finally complete. I'm not making this stuff up. Google it. It's all public information. I'm not conspiratorial. I'm not Alex Jones on the radio here. I'm telling you the truth. I don't believe in Illuminati. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Personally, I don't. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm telling you stuff that is legit. Research it yourself. You'll find it. It's right there, and it's not on conspiracy theory website. It's clearly available. Public information, documented, and all that. You look at the people that the Democrats embrace, and that is what you'll find. People like Margaret Sanger that were embraced by the Ku Klux Klan. You know who Hillary Clinton's mentor was? Former Ku Klux Klan leader. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Robert C. Byrd. Google it. She said that he was her mentor. He was the former senator for West Virginia, and just a few years ago, not too long ago, he was actually the head of the Democratic Party in the Senate. Oh, how about that? Senate Majority Leader, Robert C. Byrd. Former member of the Ku Klux Klan, recruited over 100 in West Virginia. That's what I mean. He even said a white N-word on TV. I remember when that happened. It was a big deal. So yeah, guys, I'm telling you, it's the Democrats that have the racial past. It's the Democrats that are racist, not the Republicans. And, all these people, because that's the thing. I mean, I've been looking at some posts online, and there was this one guy that was supporting Donald Trump, and he was an African American. He's black. And someone said, "Oh, you're just defeating yourself." Why? Guy responded back, "Why? Because I desire to get on, to not, go for the status quo, to be enrolled in entitlement programs, to not be enrolled in, government subsidies. I want to make a future for myself." Somehow, by desiring that for my life, I'm betraying my race? Seriously? Are you kidding me? Guys, I tell you, we need to put America back to work. And if we start putting Americans back to work, there's no use for as much money going to entitlement programs, going to food stamps, going to welfare, because people shouldn't need it anymore. Go out and get a job. But part of it, you've got to get beyond this poverty type of mindset and start, actually desiring success for yourself. But one of the problems that we've seen take place, and we're talking about all communities now, not any particular ethnicity, but drugs are taking over. Drugs are taking over white, black, Latino, all communities. And when drugs take over, as we're seeing in Colorado, people become impoverished. Everyone's talking about how great legalizing weed is in Colorado and how much money the local governments are making, even though the state governments aren't making practically anything because all the money goes back into the cost of legalization. There are expenses that go along with legalizing marijuana, believe it or not, that the state has to pay. So the state isn't making any money, and every dime that the state is generating from that is going to the cost of legalization. Now, the local municipalities, the local city governments, they are making money. However, the people are becoming impoverished. They're becoming poor. One of the local, that was a big name Colorado resort community. One of the biggest resorts in Colorado. That area has become completely impoverished, and it is just completely filled with homeless people. There's a big report about that. It's filled with homeless people. Why? Because the homeless people are holding up signs that say, money for weed. Give me money for weed. They literally request weed or money for weed. And that is written on their signs. So in other words, rather than actually going out, getting a job and contributing to the workforce, contributing to the country, they are making money just so they can go out and get high. But marijuana is not addictive. Right. Yeah, sure. Marijuana is healthy. The one is that, cause people to overeat. There are these, clowns criticizing me on YouTube that were smoking dope as they were commenting on one of the segments from my show. And they say, marijuana, it's completely healthy. And then you look at them, they're as big as a house, and, marijuana has been known to give people the munchies. They always have to eat. So yeah, obesity is a really healthy thing, bud. Not to mention it puts you at an 85 greater chance of having a heart attack. The extra 400 pounds also puts you at a greater chance of having a heart attack. You look at all the negative side effects of marijuana. Alters your way of thinking. Causes the reformation of the orbifrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that is responsible for judgment, responsible for feelings of pleasure. Causes a lack of judgment. Has been known to cause an increase in traffic fatalities. I can go on, but that's what we're seeing take place in Colorado right now. The people are becoming poorer and the government is becoming richer. And that's what drug addiction does to a country. That's why the liberals support legalizing marijuana. It makes the culture stupid because it introduces the culture to drugs. And when the culture becomes introduced to marijuana, that's all that they want to spend money on, is to get high. And then they're spending all their money on pot, living in a little shack, not desiring anything for their lives, because the only trip that they'll ever go on is not to the Bahamas, is not around the world, but is on their little mental, drug-induced state. Because it's all that they're good for. That's all that they believe that they're good for. Even though they have high potential, it's all gone because they've sold their life over to drugs. And it destroys the culture, it makes the government rich, and it makes the people poor because all that they do is they spend money on drugs and the money goes to the government. That's why the government supports it so much. They get rich and the people become poor and the government controls the people.
Some say he's the next Rush Limbaugh.
I tell you, this kid's got 90% of Rush's venom with only 10% of the biomass.
You're listening to Caiden Cowger on the WCNR News Network.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
You always want to look your best, but you don't always have time to deal with a necktie that won't cooperate. That's where we come in. Introducing the Never Tie, the only necktie that you never have to tie. Each Never Tie comes with a tie and 2 removable knots that you simply slide on and adjust for your comfort, giving you the perfect look every time. Choose from over 20 stylish designs at thenevertie.com. Enter promo code RADIO1 for discount.
It safely eliminates stress and anxiety. It makes commuting, driving your kids around, or driving a truck more fun. It makes gift shopping easier. It's Happy Driving Stress Reduction, a revolutionary patent-pending tool that works while you drive. Find Happy Driving Stress Reduction on iTunes, Amazon, or Google Play. Make life easier. Buy Happy Driving Stress Reduction today.
Go get your copy of Prelude to World War III, The Rise of Islamic Republic and the Rebirth of America. World War III Series Volume 1, available in paperback and Kindle edition on Amazon by the authors James Rozone and Miranda Watson. By the 2020s, America was no longer a world superpower. The military had been cut to a bare-bones level, and while the U.S. was focused internally, the door opened for new powers to emerge on the world stage. In the wake of this power vacuum, China...
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas.
For your free inventor's information, call 1-800-441-7922. That's 1-800-441-7922.
Goldman Sachs and HSBC recently purchased 7.1 tons of physical gold. What do these bankers and mega money managers know that you don't? They're expecting the value of gold and silver to increase. That's why you need our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group offers gold and silver for direct delivery and will not be undersold. Call now. Call 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group is a company that deals with investing in precious metals such as gold and silver. They've been in business for over a decade and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They've been featured on Fox News, Market Watch, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, Reuters, Fox Business, Financial Times, and Forbes magazine. If you're interested, you can call at 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. They also offer various ebooks on investing in gold, such as the Definitive Gold Guide. So once again, if you're interested, you can call 1-800-932-4108. That's 1-800-932-4108. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends at the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja is a company that specializes in slashing debt. They deal with various debt problems such as tax debt, debt settlement, debt consolidation, student loan debt, credit repair services, and bankruptcy. That is 1-800-826-1132. Now, their company, the Debt Ninja, operates on a national level and have worked to fight the IRS for many of their clients. If you're interested, you can call at 1-800-826-1132. That is 1-800-826-1132. Once again, that is 1-800-826-1132. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, American Auto Protection has announced an extended service plan that is now available to the general public. This plan reduces the cost of auto repair expenses. Maximum Car Care was created to assist qualifying car owners with lowering repair bills of cars under 130,000 miles and under 12 years old. Maximum Car Care works to limit the expense of auto repair bills, roadside assistance, rental coverage, and towing. Their number is 1-800-824-9762. That is 1-800-824-9762. Once again, that is 1-800-824-9762. Maximum Car Care is a proud sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program.
You're listening to the WCNR News Network, where America comes to talk.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
And by the way, pertaining to the weight of marijuana makes people overeat, and it's unhealthy because, see, here's the thing. Regular obesity, there have been statistics that show that some people who are obese actually live longer than some people that are, thin, which is, not good considering I'm practically borderline anorexic. No, I'm kidding. But no, but the thing is with marijuana is that it causes people to overeat to where they really get, what they call the munchies. They always have to eat, and they gain all this weight. And what ends up happening is that, see, marijuana is fat soluble, meaning that it's stored in the fat. So it lasts in your body for, even when you smoke it, not only does it, cause you to gain weight, but it also is stored in your fat for approximately 3 weeks to 30 days. So, it's really a dangerous drug. And even though you're not, what would be considered high, it's stored in your fat for 3 weeks, meaning that while you're not what is considered to be in a drug-induced state, you still kind of are. Your judgment is impaired, and it can cause permanent brain damage that will last forever. How do I know this? Because I've had friends that are on pot. And Lord knows, in high school, I did everything I could to try to get them off of it. But, sometimes the addiction to the people that they pal around with that do the drugs is sometimes stronger than the addiction of the drugs themselves. But their friends that they're addicted to get them to engage in drug usage. And because of their addiction to their friends, they don't realize what's happening. And then eventually when their friends are gone or they're deceased because they go on to other things, or maybe they even die as a result of a traffic fatality by being induced on marijuana, as my great uncle did. Got hit by an 18-wheeler while going up to Fairmont. Was high on pot. Pulled right out in front of him on the interstate. That's what can happen. And so, you do everything that you can for them. You try to witness to them. You try to lead them to the Lord. You try to tell them about God. You try to get them off of it. But, sometimes you get to a point where you just got to let them go. And from, a lot of those kids that I knew in high school, we're going on, 4 weeks or something like that. Haven't heard a peep from any of them. So, they're out of my life. And hopefully God will send some other people into their lives that can reach them. Because Lord knows I did everything that I could. But that's why I hate drugs so much. That's why I hate marijuana so much. I've watched it ruin people. I mean, I've watched it destroy people. And I can talk hours upon hours about that because, you see people that you really love and that you really care about go down the wrong direction. And you can get mad at me all you want, but, if you're somebody that's on pot and you're smoking marijuana, you don't even know what's happening to you. Ask the friends that are no longer around you anymore what happened to you, because they'll notice the changes. I did. I noticed the changes in my friends are not the same as they were. And it's not a good thing. They've mentally deteriorated. They're less intelligent. And, God help them. God help them. They make bad decisions, and it's not just in that area. They make the bad decision to smoke weed. It's not just, unfortunately, that's not the only bad decision that they're going to make in their life, because especially considering that marijuana causes your judgment to be impaired, you're going to make many more mistakes than just smoking pot. Anyway, let's get back to what we have going on here. There's an article from BuzzFeed, which is kind of ironic that BuzzFeed is actually reporting this because BuzzFeed is owned by CNN. But CNN deleted a story linking Donald Trump to Russia, and they then issued a retraction after questions were raised. So listen to this. CNN late Friday deleted a story from its website that claimed that Senate investigators were looking into a Russian investment fund whose chief executive met with a member of President Trump's transition team, later issuing a retraction in the story's place. The now deleted story by investigative reporter Thomas Frank, who should be fired, was published Thursday and cited a single unnamed source. A single unnamed source who claimed that the Senate Intelligence Committee was looking into a $10 billion Russian investment fund whose chief executive met with a member of President Donald Trump's transition team 4 days before Trump's inauguration. But by Friday, the story had vanished from CNN's website. It was not immediately clear when the story was removed, but a tweet linking to the story from CNN Politics account was also deleted sometime Friday evening. And I'll read you the editor's note that was published on June 23rd, 2017. On June 22nd, CNN published a story connecting Anthony Scaramucci with investigations into the Russian Direct Investment Fund. The story did not meet CNN's editorial standards and has been retracted. Links to the story have been disabled. CNN apologizes to Mr. Scaramucci. After the story's removal, the page initially displayed an error to viewers, while the editor's note was later posted on a separate webpage. Early Saturday morning, however, the story's original location was redirecting readers to see the note. And they have the editor's note on CNN. So see, that's what I mean. So we learned from Comey that the New York Times was posting fake news. Now here we have CNN posting fake news. And what's another thing that they posted? They posted that, remember the story about Donald Trump signing a little boy's hat, a teenager's hat, and then he just threw it randomly into the crowd for anyone to catch, threw the boy's hat away? Yeah, that was fake news. Donald Trump did not do that. So that was a lie. Big lie. But Politico ran with it. CNN ran with it. BuzzFeed ran with it, the one that just made this report. All major news agencies ran with this thing. WAPO ran with it. Threw the hat away. And then it turns out, nope, Donald Trump threw it back to the boy, and the boy got it and said thank you. Not, oh no, like they said. Complete lie to make Donald Trump look bad. And then we have this again. Single, secretive, undisclosed source that no one knows who it is. No one has any idea. You realize how many wonderful news stories I could be writing at Calgary Nation right now without revealing any sources? I mean, hey, I could create a news story of an undisclosed, source that says that, Barack Obama is a pedophile from Zimbabwe. But hey, it's an undisclosed source, so you can't say anything. It's true. It's true. It's confidential. I can't reveal the source, but it's true. And no, I'm not saying that Obama's, a pedophile from Zimbabwe. No, it's not what I'm saying. You just get the idea. I can make up anything, absolutely anything that I wanted to, and just say, hey, not going to tell you the source. Made it up. Just pulled it out of thin air. And that's really what the news media is doing. That's what I mean. You can't listen to the media anymore. And guys, I got to say this. I have the radio show Monday through Thursday on WXMB in Myrtle Beach. But Rush Limbaugh said the same exact thing. Just turn off the media. Don't listen to the news media. Just listen to the Rush Limbaugh show. And I'll tell the same thing to you. If you are unhappy and you feel miserable, 2 shows you can listen to. This show and Rush's show. Of course, I'm going to make you listen to this show too. But yeah. Listen to my show, listen to his show. Get your news and information there. Rush is practically available in every city if you're a vacationer. I'm here on this station. Rush is on some other station there in Myrtle Beach and in Wheeling, and down in Georgia and Florida. You can find him there. I think we share a station with Rush in Florida. But yeah, guys, I tell you, you can really drive yourself insane by watching the media today. And you need to start just listening to conservative talk because they'll drive you insane. Because all that they do is that they're, presenting to you fake news stories, telling you lies, messing around with polls to make you believe that America is falling apart, that, faith in Donald Trump is completely, gone. No one cares. So no one likes him anymore. So just listen to us.
Caiden Cowger. Keeping America straight.
You're listening to Caiden Cowger on the WCNR News Network.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
It safely eliminates stress and anxiety. It makes commuting, driving your kids around, or driving a truck more fun. It makes gift shopping easier. It's Happy Driving Stress Reduction, a revolutionary patent-pending tool that works while you drive. Find Happy Driving Stress Reduction on iTunes, Amazon, or Google Play. Make life easier. Buy Happy Driving Stress Reduction today.
You always want to look your best, but you don't always have time to deal with a necktie that won't cooperate. That's where we come in. Introducing the Never Tie, the only necktie that you never have to tie. Each Never Tie comes with a tie and 2 removable knots that you simply slide on and adjust for your comfort, giving you the perfect look every time. Choose from over 20 stylish designs at thenevertie.com. Enter promo code RADIO1 for discount.
Go get your copy of Prelude to World War III, The Rise of Islamic Republic and the Rebirth of America. World War III Series Volume 1, available in paperback and Kindle edition on Amazon by the authors James Rozone and Miranda Watson. By the 2020s, America was no longer a world superpower. The military had been cut to a bare-bones level, and while the U.S. was focused internally, the door opened for new powers to emerge on the world stage. In the wake of this power vacuum, China.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas.
For your free inventor's information, call 1-800-441-7922. That's 1-800-441-7922.
Goldman Sachs and HSBC recently purchased 7.1 tons of physical gold. What do these bankers and mega money managers know that you don't? They're expecting the value of gold and silver to increase. That's why you need our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group offers gold and silver for direct delivery and will not be undersold. Call now. Call 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group is a company that deals with investing in precious metals such as gold and silver. They've been in business for over a decade and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They've been featured on Fox News, Market Watch, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, Reuters, Fox Business, Financial Times, and Forbes magazine. If you're interested, you can call at 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. They also offer various ebooks on investing in gold, such as the Definitive Gold Guide. So once again, if you're interested, you can call 1-800-932-4108. That's 1-800-932-4108. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends at the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja is a company that specializes in slashing debt. They deal with various debt problems such as tax debt, debt settlement, debt consolidation, student loan debt, credit repair services, and bankruptcy. That is 1-800-826-1132. Now, their company, the Debt Ninja, operates on a national level and have worked to fight the IRS for many of their clients. If you're interested, you can call at 1-800-826-1132. That is 1-800-826-1132. Once again, that is 1-800-826-1132. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, American Auto Protection has announced an extended service plan that is now available to the general public. This plan reduces the cost of auto repair expenses. Maximum Car Care was created to assist qualifying car owners with lowering repair bills of cars under 130,000 miles and under 12 years old. Maximum Car Care works to limit the expense of auto repair bills, roadside assistance, rental coverage, and towing. Their number is 1-800-824-9762. That is 1-800-824-9762. Once again, that is 1-800-824-9762. Maximum Car Care is a proud sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program.
You're listening to the WCNR News Network, where America comes to talk.
Caiden Cowger.
Somebody had to say it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Caiden Cowger program. It is great to have you with us. So, I want to go back one more time to the shooting that took place in Alexandria. Because I want to be honest with you. No one is holding the Democrats accountable for the shooting that took place in Alexandria. Yet the Democrats blamed Republicans for the shooting that took place of Representative Gabrielle Giffords in Tucson, Arizona. What did they blame it on? Again, Sarah Palin, they blamed it on a map that she created that had little targets on it, saying that these are the Democratic candidates that we need to vote out of Washington. That's what Sarah Palin did. Vote them out. And because she created this map, the Democrats said it's human targeting. They blamed the shooting on a Rush Limbaugh billboard that said, Rush Limbaugh, conservative talk, straight shooter. A radio station billboard, they said that was responsible for it because it was a few miles away. They tried to tie the shooter to a volunteer that was affiliated with a Tea Party organization. Turned out that it was just another guy that had a similar name. There was no connection at all. But the Democrats blamed Republicans for that shooting that took place in 2011. And here we have an anti-Trump, liberal, Bernie Sanders supporting activist that shot Representative Steve Scalise, would have shot more had God not had his hand of protection on those Republican congressmen. And we're not holding the Democrats accountable. Even though Democrats are definitely worthy of being held accountable, we had Senator Tim Kaine that called for fighting in the streets. On MSNBC's The Morning Joe, we had Snoop Dogg that created a music video portraying the assassination of Donald Trump. We had Madonna that expressed that she thinks about blowing up the White House daily. We had Kathy Griffin, who beheaded Donald Trump in a photo shoot with blood dripping from his face, from the portrayal of his severed head. We have Antifa that is calling for violence against Trump supporters. And then recently we have Johnny Depp, who seemed rather intrigued by the idea of an actor assassinating the president. So let's say it like it is. Liberals have been inciting violence against the GOP and against conservatives for months, and they finally got their wish. That's exactly what has been taking place. And moderate Republicans can reject it. Moderate Republicans can act like nothing is going on. Republican moderates can act like there's a bipartisan support for Scalise in Washington, when actually a lot of Democrats hold the exact belief that this guy did in Nebraska, that they were happy that he got shot. Why? Because they did the same exact thing with Scalia. Antonin Scalia, what did they do? They were so thrilled, so absolutely overjoyed that Scalia was found dead. And now that Representative Steve Scalise has been shot, was in critical condition, he's doing better now. What are they doing? We wish he was dead. That's the tolerant left for you. That's the Democrats for you. That is, and I'm just going to say this, if you're a Democrat and you don't feel that way and you see all this stuff and you're like, I don't agree with this at all, I'm going to tell you something. The Democratic Party has abandoned you. I wouldn't even identify as a Democrat anymore. I wouldn't even register as a Democrat anymore because they don't represent you. I'm not necessarily saying that the Republican Party does either, because Republicans have made some mistakes too, in my opinion. But what I'm telling you is that I would not be a Democrat. The Democratic Party voted God out of their party platform. No way would I ever be a Democrat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to us. For more information on the Caiden Cowger program, go to CaidenCowgerProgram.com. For the latest news exposing the left, go to CowgerNation.com. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God bless America.